All right, guys, we're live here on the Ultra Human Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Dhir, and today we have a very unique guest. I'm not really well spoken a lot about real estate, to be honest with you, but we have the mogul himself, John Delia. Is that how you pronounce your name?
Delia.
Delia.
Deal maker Delia.
Deal maker Delia. I love it. So you got to tell me a little bit about what you do, because you're not just like the typical real estate guy. And this is why I have you on. There's a million people that do real estate. Every day I got cards dropped off, shit in my mailbox, all this crap. But you're kind of a unique case, because I want to first start off with this. I want to understand your philosophy of real estate, but you started out really young, and your dad did real estate, right?
Correct.
Okay, it was your dad. I mean, your dad seemed like a real kind of true entrepreneur.
My dad's the true stealth wealth entrepreneur that you don't know. So I like to give a spiel that I've been unconscious for a really long time. So I've always been around him, always been surrounded, always on construction sites. I don't think I've ever put two and two together. I don't think I ever realized, oh, this is his office. Oh, this is a construction site. Oh, it wasn't until probably like senior year or junior year in high school where things get rough and you gotta, life starts to kick in and the money's not coming in like it used to, and you're like, oh my God, I gotta make money. And when I look around at the competition of my friends who are really rich kids, I'm like, oh my God, like, what did my dad do to put us here?
What do you mean by unconscious? So you're walking on unconscious?
Unconscious.
Like you're kind of like not aware of like real life because your dad was just taking care of you.
I was extremely sheltered, and I'd say in a good way, but in the sense that some families, some kids, some people learn about money. They learn the concept of money. They learn about making money. They learn what their parents. I didn't know what my dad did for I don't know how long.
Gotcha.
Just no clue. So when I say I was unconscious, I was given a lot of money, and hey, go buy this, go buy that, get what you want. But it was never like, oh, here's how we make money. Here's what you do with. Like, there was no life lessons on money, and you got to grow up and save for a mortgage. And it was just unconscious in the sense that I was just living. I was just being protected and taken care of, and prepared to be,
Gotcha.
To be an adult.
So here's an interesting fact. You started when you were 20 or 21?
20. Just before my 21st birthday.
And I found this fascinating because, I started my first business when I was 19.
Okay.
And it's a really young age. And there's a lot of disconnect with your high school friends. And even if you're in college at that time, your college friends with you saying, I'm going to go start this crazy business. I got this idea. And I really had to like separate myself from a lot of people at that time because people didn't take me very seriously. So if you're a 20-year-old, you can't even drink, and you just got your driver's license 4 years prior to
Yeah.
Then now all of a sudden you're saying, I'm going to go sell you a house or a piece of real estate. Do people even take you seriously? And people didn't take me seriously when I was 19.
Definitely not. So yeah, So one, I'd say I was always going to be in business. I think take it to the high school level. I had to find ways to make money because my father was not giving me the money anymore. So it's like you have to find entrepreneurial ways to bring in capital. By the time you get to college, it's a matter of like certainty. I think I told myself like I want to make a lot of money. I need to make money. So there was a great level of disconnection and separation and isolationism in the sense that, I moved from New York to Columbus, Ohio to learn how to make money. So my brash personality, the New Yorkness, I had to change and I had to be alone for a lot, a little bit, a lot of it,
So let me ask you this. So, what's this? You're 20 years old. You tight on cash. You mentioned starting a fund to be able to fund these deals.
So I started a fund later in evolution. So one, I'm from Long Island, New York. So we lived in nearly $1 million house. And I don't say that to brag, but I put it in context of when I was going out in high school and hanging with my buddies. On the weekend, we'd go out to the city from Long Island. So you take the Long Island Railroad. You get a $20 train ticket. Then you get to the city, and we're going to, BBC, Bathing Ape, and all those things. Oh, yeah. You'd wait in line. You go to the store to buy your $400 hoodie or your $300 shoes. And then you go to lunch at some fancy fucking restaurant. And that was the average weekend. Or you're going, it's the ultimate keeping up in consumption. That was Long Island. So then when I left and came to Columbus, because the trigger hit, oh my God, I have to make money. Oh my God, how did my dad make money? Just spending, just purchasing power, just the way people live. Life is different. It's just different. Long Island is not like the Midwest.
So why Columbus? Why'd you move here?
I moved here because my father had a division of his company here, Big Land Properties, and I wanted a job to learn how to do real estate acquisition. I had no immediate plan to go off to college right away, so it's like I needed to make money or learn how.
Did people find because this is common as well, just from getting to know you,
please,
you have really busted your ass to get whatever you've had.
Sure. Okay.
You are 26 now?
26.
He's 26 years old. This guy has busted his ass for 6 hard years.
And even before
your
that, but
dad
that's
was
when it started being tangible. But yeah.
And your dad, your dad's this big real estate mogul. I mean, you get some of these kids that are just like trust fund babies, right? But this wasn't the case. Did your dad basically put down his foot and say, look, I've got a multi-million-dollar company. I'm going to support my son and have him work for me, but I'm not going to he's not going to become some fucking trust fund baby.
It's just, my father's a Haitian immigrant. My family is from Haiti. Haiti is the most impoverished place in the Western Hemisphere. So there was no. My dad was the ultimate stealth wealth. I mean, I thought we were poor. I thought he was a bum. He would be home on the couch cooking dinner, watching TV. Everyone else's friends were getting picked up in a BMW and a Bentley and a Mercedes, and they were going off to order dinner and this and that. My dad was home. So I always thought he was a bum. So ultimate stealth wealth millionaire didn't even validate who he was, didn't realize it. So it didn't click, that unconsciousness didn't click because of everyone else around you. But two, I think it's a matter of, I'm going to give my sons and my family an opportunity. And if they choose that this can be a path for them, or if they choose that they want to take this and make something of it, I'll give them a platform and I'll give them the experience to learn. But it was never a sense of I'm going to give you a bunch of money, or I'm going to fund your first deal, or I'll help you. I actually fired my father for my first deal, but
you fired your dad?
I fired him.
How'd you fire your dad?
So it's I bought this. He helped me get the house. He helped me get the deal. He knew the realtor. He knew everyone. The deal came to me. Hey, you ready to buy a house? You want to buy a house? Do you have some money saved? Yeah, I want to buy a house. I'm ready. I'm going to do it. So getting ready to be my 21st birthday. I was still 20. Anyway, so I bought the house. I paid full cash for it. Bought it full list price. It was $6,900. This was 2009, 10, beginning of the recession. I had just moved. You couldn't buy a car in New York for that price. Right. But anyway, yeah, we get to the job site. So this was a rehab. It happened to be a double. Didn't even know it was a double, but it happened to be a double. And I get to the house the first day, and there's these Mexican, Spanish people. There were laborers, contractors on my roof giving me a new roof without my permission. Didn't get to pick them. Didn't know the price that was being paid. And one, I was scared because, how much am I going to pay for this? But I was just pissed that I didn't get to participate. So I just flipped out. I was like, what are you doing? This is my deal. This is my money. This is not your company. This is the reason I'm buying a house. I don't want to do it your way. So I think I was stubborn. I was naive. And I was just like, no, you're not allowing me to do it the way I want. And I don't want you to spend my money for me. I want to do it myself. I think a lot of times you have a situation where your parents can set you up and you just coast in and take over. I never wanted that. I just didn't. I wanted to be able to say, I wanted the respect. I was tired of not being respected. And the moment, it was like a violation. And even though he's my father, and in the long term, I recognize he had my best interest in mind. For me, I was like, no, you're fired, dude. No, this is my house.
You told him, you actually looked at your dad and said you're fired.
In a nice way. Yeah, in a nicer way. But dude, essentially, it was just like, you're fired.
This isn't. You're like the real deal, fucking. You're straight business, man.
Dude. But I ended up. So the house, it was the ultimate culture shock. One of my book is called Gut Check, and it's about, oh my God, what every landlord won't tell you. Dude, I was on cloud nine when I bought the house, and it wasn't until, oh my God, I have to rehab two sides of a house. Contractors are cheating me. I'm losing money. I see my bank account, almost like when you're in the equities market, and you see it go from green to red, and it keeps going lower and lower, and you're like, oh my God, if I lose all my money, I got to go back with my tail between my legs and be humble. And not just be humble, but be a bitch, excuse my language. And I just didn't want that to happen. But anyway, I ended up selling the building 30 days later to the guy across the street because I just couldn't get the deal done. I couldn't get it done.
So let me ask you this. Tell me a little bit about Gut Check, the book.
Gut Check, the book. Working title, but it's writing. We're in editors. It's taken some time to get it out there and just get it together, get it organized. But it's just that experience of my first property. What's happening now is I have the blending of all my experience, but that first property, that conscious, unconscious. A lot of guys I meet want to be in real estate, want to invest, want to start a fund, want to raise money. And one of my investors in my company, I got to take a step back. I did this investor questionnaire, and I was like, oh, give me a quote that represents your life or your belief system. He brought up Tyson. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Right. Boom. That was it for me. Gut check. Here I am, 20-something. Then I turned 21. And nights and weekends, Friday night I'm trash. Saturday I know I got to go to this house because I got money tied up. And I got to be on the roof cleaning the gutters. Or I got to be gutting the inside. Or I got to be sweeping. I was trying to save money, bootstrap it, hustle. And I was just in over my head, and it was a gut check. Like, do I really want to be doing this? Do I really want to be a landlord? I have a woman moving in with her sons, and the house is not done. Her sons are big adults. I'm scared. Like, this is a real responsibility. It was scary.
Shit just got really real.
Yeah.
I got to tell you guys this, for whoever's listening to this right now. Before actually getting on this interview with John actually took a call, and the way he answered the phone was like this. This is John. It was really nice. And then he goes, so do you want the house or not?
Oh,
literally, he goes, you want to buy it or not? And it was, I mean, you were just all fucking business, dude. And I find this interesting because, we get into, I actually read something you wrote about being a solopreneur.
Yeah.
Solopreneur? Right?
Yeah, solopreneur.
Solopreneur. And one of the interesting things, talk about cutting out all of the bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay. Is, you had written this article because you write a lot. And it was talking about creating value for clients, and then you listed things like you doing coffee meetings and golfing and all this type of stuff. And you quit all this bullshit out of your life. You don't do this. Like, you're just straight, like, you're buying the house or you're not buying the house. This is like a lot of these guys are on TV like that. But tell me a little bit more.
It doesn't start that way in the beginning. So what's weird, going back to now the humbleness of trying to learn from my father, I used to set up all these meetings in the office, meetings. I knew I needed to build my network. I think as a millennial or as a young guy who's in a different generation, we have different expectations from our parents. So initially I'm setting up meetings to network, to talk business. In my father's view, is spinning wheels. You know what I mean? This doesn't make money. At the end of the day, all that matters is how much money you have in the bank. Here you are spinning your wheels, taking up valuable time where you could be executing. Anyway, it wasn't until getting past the first deal, going through, the process of doing multiple deals and needing money and having to raise an investment fund that you start to do things that don't make sense. So you get a call from a buddy. He says, hey, I got a buddy. He's coming in town. He's an investor. We just got to go to a fancy restaurant, schmooze the guy. He's wanting to look at deals. You start to do things that don't pay. And with the hope and the pray that, oh my God, if we do this, if we go to this coffee, we're going to get a deal. If we go to dinner, we're going to get a deal. If we wine and dine, we're going to get a deal. The truth is, those guys with money, they have money, they'll give you the deal, regardless if you wine and dine them and are fancy. So, only in hindsight later on have I recognized that if you want to quantify the amount of money you'll lose taking a sit-down coffee, I'm not saying coffee is all horrible. I mean, I love coffee. But if you're not at a place where you're productive and producing, coffee is just not even on the table. It's not something you should be doing. You don't have time to network when you don't have any money. So for me, I need money. I can't be broke. I have to produce. And I'm no longer willing to there's a lot of people who want to play business and entrepreneur. I've heard this a lot from a lot of other big guys, and it's the truth. I mean, when you're honestly genuine, trying to make your living, trying to make your business work, trying to make money, there's a lot of guys who will just, it's the bait and switch, or it's the Wizard of Oz, and you don't have any money. And I'm like, I just wasted how much time with you?
I agree. I actually, this is something else I did a lot more recently is I cut back my meetings a lot. In fact, I tried to set up my meetings only on a couple of days a week because so many of these things were just bullshit. If people want to do something, they just put their foot down and they just drive it and they do it. I always use this example with Dana White was talking, Dana White from the UFC, about how, the deal's either going to get done or it's not going to get done. And that's the thing. I mean, you can sit there and try and figure it out why an investor didn't do it, but a lot of people do. They just walk around. They just waste your time.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: for a young, strapping entrepreneur,
please,
you're 26 now. You've done 26. Really good. Well, let me ask you this because people are probably wondering: are you putting some cash away? You got to be making some bank right now. You're flipping shit.
I am now. It was intentional. In the beginning, I was balling. I mean, I was going to New York. I was getting suites. I was getting fancy clothes. I mean weekends.
The north of seven figures.
Yeah. 6, not seven. 7's a million. Yeah, 6. Yeah, I'm not at the 7. But
when you're 20-year-old, you're making that kind of cash.
Well, okay, yeah. I mean, so it's I know now. In hindsight, I'm like, oh damn, like. I've had a lot of opportunity, but I was real. That was the beginning of it. I was real. I was true. I was passionate, and I've continued to produce. But I actually intentionally decided that I wanted to settle down. I wanted to get consistent. I wanted to have a future, a wife, a life, blah, blah, blah. And I realized I couldn't keep going at the rate I was going. I was just spending and having fun. So I actively, seeked out a financial advisor, financial planner, and just was like, look, I got to get on a path. I got to save money. I got to store money. I got to have an IUL and be legit.
So, I mean, you talk a lot about money. And I just want, I mean, you again, we're just talking straight cash now. Just straight cash, okay? And this is what you've been focused on a lot. Dude, how many people at the age of 26, 30, 40, 50 have, they don't even have 2 pennies to scratch together, right? They just don't. And you were just like this straight kind of driving business guy, right? You get into real estate. You're doing well now. You got a fiance, right?
Yeah,
You
I'm
don't have any kids,
engaged.
okay?
No kids.
Give listening entrepreneurs a little bit of advice. If you're going to tell them 2 or 3 different things, what would be 2 or 3 different things you would tell somebody?
So
At this age,
okay.
at this point in life.
So
really
this
just wanna
age,
tell
I'm
something.
gonna do 3. One, I'll take straight out of my father's book. I don't want this intention to be taken the wrong way, but it's the truth. At the end of the day, all that matters is how much money you have in the bank. I'll say it one more time. At the end of the day, all that matters is how much money you have in the bank. Popularity, being cool. Oh my God, this guy has this position. We're going to this party. Who gives a damn? How much money do you have? Your money. Don't waste time. You know, it's difficult to be productive because we do a lot of things. You know, in New York, we used to call it a flapper. Someone who just ran around his mouth and just talk, and he just flapped. You know, you got to be productive. You got to just execute. You got to block your time. You got to discipline yourself. I mean, that's unheard of and it's difficult, but you got to do it if you really want it. And then I'd say number 3 is that the money is out there, the people are out there, the resources are out there. You're just probably not ready. So whenever you are ready, you'll get your first dollar. You'll get your first investment. You'll get your first sale. You'll get the money. But I had to be. I was at a point where I was just so ready for it that I literally attracted so much of it. I just attracted so much of it. It was. I mean, and
so and the thing is, like, you're like a really nice guy, but you're a very stern business person. I mean, where is the line between being nice and just like? Do you think nice gets you somewhere? Because you got 2 different philosophies. You got nice guys finish last.
Yeah.
And you've got, the power of being nice.
True.
And these are both really, the power of being nice is almost like inbound marketing. Like, I'm going to be really nice.
Goodwill.
And goodwill and all that shit, right? And then you got these guys that are like, fuck this shit, dude. I want my dollar. I take my money first. I take my cut. And they're just like, go, go, go. And I seen both systems work.
Yeah.
But what's your philosophy?
I'm blended. I'm definitely blended, but nice guys get walked all over. I was a nice guy for a long time. They walked all over me. Actually, right now, a lot of people think I'm horrible, I'm mean, I'm rude. Until they get to know me, we talk, and they realize I have high integrity. I have high morals. I have high standards. I have high values. So I'm not here to reach into your pocket and try to take what you have. I can get what I want. But I'm not here to put other people down or to just undermine or step on the little guy. Now, I'm shrewd at this point because I need to make money. So even early on, as a 21, 22-year-old landlord, I mean, after a few deals, you get tenants who are older than you, and they want to teach you a lesson. They want to, stick it to you. Why did you decide to live in my house? Why? Yes, I rented to you, but you want to teach me a lesson. You're living in my house. Like, there's no lesson you can teach me. I should teach you a lesson. So I'd say there's a point where you have to stop being nice and start getting real. Don't be mean. Don't be aggressive. Don't be rude. But keep it legitimate. And I think for me, it's just like people have to know that they can't push you over. I'm not saying, go out swinging, but, in business, my attorney said it before, my first company, and I was in buyouts and everything else. He was like, John, if you get in bed with sharks, they get hungry, they eat. So you're either going to be a shark or you're going to get eaten. Decide. And I wasn't going to get eaten. I mean, these guys thought they were smarter than me and, bigger than me, older than me, have more money than me. Your firm is like, I'm just relentless. You're not going to beat me. I'm not going to be eaten.
So you talk about, I checked out your website. Actually,
Please.
you have 2 websites. You have one called CentralOhioPropertyExchange.com.
Correct.
Okay. And you have another one which I found particularly fascinating, which is called Life, Liberty, and Property. And being like an N, right? Life, Liberty, and Property.com. And now, we're talking about cash. We're just talking about straight, like, flat out, who's got the fucking most money wins, in your opinion, okay?
Whose balance sheet is bigger?
Whose balance sheet is bigger, period. This is like your philosophy.
That's it.
On your site, you talk about living life of purpose.
Yeah.
And I want to talk a little bit about the concept of this purpose and this contribution and finding your sort of path. And how do you relate this to money? Because they always feel like 2 different things. There seems like there's some sort of like cross-contamination here.
Yeah. There can be, but it doesn't have to be. So first thing I'll say is even with real estate, no matter what it is, you can make money doing anything. You can make money doing anything. So I honestly love and am passionate about real estate, buildings, physical space, environments, creating and controlling neighborhoods, shaping neighborhoods, influencing neighborhoods. So that's the first thing. Living life on purpose. everything I'm doing is intentional. First, I want to take a step back. Life, liberty, and property. The Constitution, the founding fathers, John Locke, everyone, it was life, liberty, and property before it was the pursuit of happiness. Jefferson decided, hey, we're going to pivot. We're going to make it about happiness. No. The old guys, the founding fathers, they wanted property. They wanted ownership. They wanted tangibles. So, for me, I was really attached to that because it's the truth. I mean, tangible is where it is. But living life on purpose, there's a lot of people who are just, they haven't been able to clamp on and hold their passion, or they're just like going with the wind, I mean, they're just whimsically floating and being pushed, or they're following the crowd. I mean, there's a level of intention for me, and I'm using money as a way to quantify that intention and quantify that end result, because it's not about the money, but the influence and where I'm from Haiti. Once again, I'll bring it back up. I want to go and develop. I don't want red tape. I don't want to deal with bureaucracy. I don't want to ask you to donate. I just want to go and develop the right product for the market that I believe is there. And I don't want to second guess it. So for me, I have to be extremely diligent, intentional, and serious about what I'm doing just to achieve my goals. I just said it, if you do it and once you're ready, the world's going to open up. So even that call, these people are thinking we're just trying to flip this house. I really want to buy this house and live in the house. And I'll say it, I think it's this one guy who's mad that we have more money and he's in the transaction and he's cock blocking. And later on, we're going to come back and we're going to not get him, but we're going to do the appropriate measures to say, hey, you haven't done the right duty by us, your fiduciary duty, but you just, you got to go after what you want and you got to be strict.
Interesting. So I'm going to ask you, I want to rapid fire three things.
Please.
Three different things. Number one is buy or rent.
One more time.
Buy or rent.
Buy or rent.
Buy or rent.
Buy or
in
rent.
Columbus right now, there's all of these apartment complexes going up. Would you even consider renting an apartment right now?
The product is crap, most of it. Buy.
Always buy.
The problem is, I understand millennials want to move and want to leave. Your purchasing power here is worth more than any coast. Columbus in the next 5 years is going to boom, and the prices are going to keep increasing. Rent is going to keep booming. We're an insulated economy, education, meds, institutions, healthcare, finance. We're not going to fail. Right now, if you look at the chance to have a nest egg and get your piece of the pie, this is it. Otherwise, pick 10 years and pick a new city that's smaller. So buy. Really? The developers are putting a great product out there. That's just to confuse you. I mean, there's a lot of people who should rent, but for those who have the capacity, you need to buy something and you need to just sit on it for a little bit and just make some money.
So let me ask you this. I drive around Columbus. I moved to Columbus a while back. I moved from England, right?
Okay.
And I moved to Columbus. Columbus was kind of like whatever at that time. Mm-hmm. I believe it is now the 14th largest city in the United States.
15th,
right? Mm-hmm. Columbus, though, I believe is the first or second fastest growing city right now in the U.S.
Yeah.
We're around like Austin, Texas, I think. Maybe
Austin is second. Right? Columbus is in Austin. If you look at Columbus and Austin, not only are there sister cities and dynamics of economies, but Austin is Columbus 5 to 10 years ago. I mean, same UT Austin, big school, 50,000 like Ohio State, same economy, same kind of company, same Fortune 500, same millennials who are populating. We are Austin, Texas before Austin was cool. My fiance is from Austin, went to grad school in Austin, and she lived the Austin party, and Columbus is just a little older version, but it's the same thing. It's just Columbus is doing the work Austin did already.
All right, so I also think Columbus is really on the map. I'm seeing the progressiveness. Like every single place I drive, there's all these complexes being put up. The roads being rebuilt. Like it's insane.
Yeah.
So right now is a good time to buy. And you think in the next 5 years?
I think by 2020, you're going to realize it's a competitive city. By 2025, you need money. At that point, it's pricey.
It becomes like Chicago, New York.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it'd be just expensive to the price where over the last 3 years, I've been here 6 years now. Over the past 3 years, you've seen the gastropub, the craft beer, the microbrewery. Right. That's a new concept. It's not new, but it's a new concept in Columbus. Right. So there's all these kind of normalized big city things that Columbus is just now experiencing. And it's almost new sense of a renaissance, but you have to pay for that renaissance. So we're getting familiar with paying, $7, $8, $9, $10 for a beer, for a mixed drink, for the ambiance, for the gastropubs, for the beer garden, establishments, for the new amenities of the complexes. We're not used to it. So then we're going to be able to say, yeah, that's good, but there's this one better. So, I just think as the market matures and as the product stabilizes, we're going to experience the price increase.
Interesting. Love it. So earlier you said to me, quote unquote, when I first met you today, that you don't chase bad money. Don't allow bad money in your life. What do you mean by that?
So there's a lot of money out there. I've taken a lot of it. And I'll say there's good and bad money. The reason I exited my first company is because I took on bad money, not because I wanted to leave very soon.
What do you mean bad money? Like define this. So you still have bad money. People say, oh, it's from like drug deals.
No, so I'm not taking from drug dealing. I'm taking, it's more so than just shitty investors. It's taking money, not that you don't need it. It's that there's good money in the sense that you have patient investors and investors that agree on terms and they're okay with the vision, the mission, and going down a path. And then you have another type of investor who will get on board just to get on board to begin to try to steer the ship or rock the boat. So it's no different in equities or the stock market when you hear about mergers, acquisitions, and you have a shareholder come on and now he wants to start advocating for changes in management and shifts in business.
You don't have any. You do all your stuff yourself. No investors, no business partners, really. Like you are like a one-man show. You like it that way. You buttoned up.
Well, at this point, fast. For Property Exchange, we have I brought on one of my other OSU buddies as a co-founder to grow it. But in terms of taking on outside capital to grow the business, bootstrapped and out of pocket. So I'm no longer, I started that way. I've gone back to it. I ran the investment money. And at this point, for scale, for growth, until we are so valuable where we're the biggest dick swinging, it doesn't make sense to take on more money.
I gotcha. Your website you have right now, which is your actual like real estate site, is Central Ohio Property Exchange. And what makes this site different? Because you're saying it's more local, right?
So it's more. So the first thing is Central Ohio has no local authority in real estate but us. Right. So when you look at how do you localize an economy, how do you become like a key stakeholder, how do you know what's going on at the neighborhood level? There's no site in terms of the real estate market to really become an insider, to network with people, it's deal oriented where you can look at listings or you can negotiate back and forth directly with a contact. There's just no site out there that's doing it. So for us, this is not johndelia.com and it says my name and I'm the founder. You would never even know outside of this interview. And the point is to just facilitate the market growth. So as a New Yorker, if I want to bring my buddies and their money to Columbus, I'm going to tell them go to Property Exchange and look at the main page and look at the listings we have. You can buy a house for $72,000. You can buy a house for $55,000. Buddy, your BMW sitting in the garage in New York, is that price. So the money is the same. The purchasing power is different. So the Property Exchange for us is really making it easier to market the economy and market what's going on in the real estate market for anyone, local or national. But it's just one place to start where then we send you back out. So we'll provide the resources. We don't want to hoard, but we just want to make it the key place to go and start.
Excellent. John, I got to tell you, for those guys that are listening to this on iTunes right now, dude, this is a very busy man. Like his phone's fucking blown up. I've seen his phone going off probably about 15 times already since we started this interview. So I'm going to ask you this last question, John. What makes you the best at what you do? Why are you the best?
I am so hungry and thirsty and curious for knowledge and education that I continually, we talked about evolving and adapting. I am evolution on steroids. I mean, I just see it, I mimic it, and I get better and I iterate. So for me, I've taken my little bits of experience, and whether it's internships or companies or even being the insider of a lot of big companies, and I've been able to just mimic, iterate, and produce the same standard, if not better. So what makes me the best is just, in terms of the curiosity and the thirst for knowledge and education, you can't beat me. I am so smart that investments in real estate is not just about, what's about the property. We might talk about philosophy. We might talk about Nietzsche. It doesn't matter. Like, you want to talk about the New Yorker and last week's article? Whatever you want to talk about, we're going to vibe intellectually first, and then we can move it to wherever it needs to go.
I love that you believe in evolution. I've always said this. It passionately gets you so far. Evolution really keeps you going because you constantly can sort of reignite the passion. Everyone listening out there, thanks for tuning in. I'm with John Delia, LifeLibertyAndProperty.com, and also check out the Central Ohio Property Exchange.com. As he just quote unquote said, he is evolution on steroids. I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Appreciate being here.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
Definitely check it out.